So again, welcome. Thanks for being here. It's a very exciting moment for us. We are very excited. And it's a very exciting moment because it's the last day, the very last day of an intensive 24-week learning journey for the students of our part-time data science program, namely batch 716. So we are really looking forward to presenting these products today that they have been very busy building the past weeks. So first, I wanted to congratulate all of you. So let's start with a huge round of applause to congratulate and encourage them before we start the pitch. So I want to see lots of clap in the chat. So let's encourage them to before we start. So congrats, everyone. So before we get started, also, I wanted just to give you a little bit more information about who we are at Le Wagon, for those of you who don't know us. So Le Wagon started in Paris back in 2013. And over the last 8 years, we've trained about 14,000 people at 44 campuses around the world. So we are very, very proud to be one of the most acclaimed coding bootcamp based on our student reviews. And actually, the students with me here from Montreal joined a total of 600 students who graduated the past week. So congratulations again to you today who are joining this incredible Le Wagon community. We are very, very happy to have you amongst our community. So at Le Wagon, we put a very important emphasis on practical learning and products. And that's just what you're about to discover in a few moments. Many of our graduates actually have gone on and continued on their projects and launched their startup after the bootcamp. That's why we have about 200 startup launch after our bootcamps around the world. We offer two main programs at Le Wagon. So there's one program in web development where you learn the fundamentals of programming and software development and learn how to become a full stack developer. And the data science bootcamp, where you learn the fundamentals of Python, data analysis, machine learning, data production tools. You get all the skills to join a data science team. So this is what you are going to see tonight. We are celebrating the end of our part-time data science bootcamp. The students who are from this batch are coming from very diverse background, have the very diverse expertise as well. So we have, for example, senior programmers, we have scientific professionals, we have data analysts, solution architect, product manager. It's always super impressive to see that diversity in our group. They all have, of course, different goals for after the bootcamp, but what they have in common, though, is their strong motivation and dedication to change career and to gain practical hands-on technical skills in a very short period of time to move to the next steps of their career. So tonight, you will discover the projects they have built in teams over the last weeks of their bootcamp. To continue, I'd like to welcome actually on stage Viral, who is a lead teacher, data science at Le Wagon, and who's also a machine learning researcher and who've been with our group of students the past weeks. So stage is yours, Viral.
Sure. Thank you so much, Angie, for the nice introduction. So today I would like to take this particular opportunity to acknowledge all the hard work this amazing group of individuals has put in last 24 weeks, which includes 2 evenings and a Saturday every week, in addition to a full-time job commitment. They have put an incredible amount of effort and time into learning data science. So what did they learn in those particular 24 weeks? They learned especially how to explore, how to clean, and how to transform the data so that it can be converted into some actionable insights. They also learned tools like Python, Pandas, Keras, TensorFlow, Google Cloud Platform, SQL, PostgreSQL. And at the core, they learned how to build machine learning models from the scratch. So I would like to give a huge shout out today to this awesome group of amazing people. And we are actually really proud of you and we cannot underestimate how many hours of coding you all have been doing since last 24 weeks. Trust me everyone on this, that you are all going to be very impressed with the projects and the amount of work they have been able to achieve in last couple of weeks. But I'll let these particular projects to speak on themselves. So are you excited and ready to start? Perfect. So without keeping you wait, please give a warm welcome to our first batch of the students, Sibyl, Mohit, Daniel, and Brahim, who is going to present us a project called SpringStone. SpringStone is basically an application that helps you to make informed investment decisions using financial data, but it also uses the social media sentiments. So that's really cool to know. And come on, basically the stage is yours, guys. So enjoy. Thanks.
Thank you for the introduction, Viral. I'm really excited to show you all how our investment platform SpringStone works. But before we begin, has anyone ever been in a situation where a friend or a colleague has come up to them and been like, hey, you should totally buy this stock. It's going to double in the next couple of days and you could make a lot of money. Chances are these people actually have no clue what they're talking about, and you should probably not listen to them, or probably not even be friends with them. Always do your own due diligence. So during the hype of the meme stock era that happened back in 2021, companies with no fundamentals were rising at unprecedented levels, and everyone was just buying shares by following other people. And people didn't really understand what they were buying or why. And by people, I mainly mean me. I had to learn this the hard way. What happens then is you end up buying at a really high price, and you never actually know when to sell until it's too late. So we've seen this to be a common problem for early and new investors, and that's where we decided to build SpringStone, an app that would bridge the gap between market perception and technical stock analysis to provide an insight on an investment recommendation on a daily basis. Our platform leverages data science and AI to deliver better investment outcomes and mitigate risk. So these are some of the features that we have in a nutshell. We'll show a little more on the platform later, but we have beautiful visualizations that show the stock data over time and the returns against other companies, an investment recommendation that uses a computed price from our RNNs, and a sentiment analysis extracted from tweets from its influential investment handles. So let's take a look at the technology behind the platform. We used Yahoo Finance API to get the financial data, and we used that to kind of engineer more features such as moving averages, Bollinger Bands, daily return. And we used the Twitter API to get the relevant tweets for those tickers for the past 7 days. We visualized the data internally in our notebooks, as well as the front end using Plotly and Matplotlib. We use several deep learning tools for predicting the stock price, such as the TensorFlow, Profit, and Flare. And for the front end and deployment, we had Docker images for API code, which we hosted on GCP. And we used the Streamlit Cloud to host the front end, as well as to show the dashboard. I'll now take you through the process of how we selected our most optimal model. So in our data set, we had 7 stocks that we looked at, which were Apple, Amazon, Bank of America, Bitcoin, Riot Blockchain, the S&P index, and Tesla. We took a time series of 10 years from 2012 to 2022, and we used 9 features, of which we engineered 6 of them. Our goal for each model was to predict the closing price for the next business day. So we used a mean absolute percentage error as our benchmark for our model's performances to see how far our predicted prices were from our actual prices. We ran 2 models. One of them was the profit model, and the other was an RNN model. I won't really bore you with the technical details, but you can see all of the features on the slide. In short, though, we decided to go with the RNN model as the results were better than the profit model by the percentages you see on the slide. For example, if you look at Bitcoin, our RNN model prediction was about 16% more accurate than the profit model. Now I'll explain to you a little bit about how we calculated our sentiment score. So we used a pre-trained NLP library called Flare, and this would essentially read a line of text and it would extract a positive or negative sentiment along with the probability of how positive or negative it was. What we did after this was we aggregated the results into a single sentiment score to add to our recommendation by weighing the tweets and how many likes that particular tweet had received. And that means that tweets which had more likes would have a bigger impact on the final score. We can now go check out some stocks on the app and see if I can find something to buy when the market opens on Monday. So when I first hop on, I can see that I can select a range of dates, and it looks like that there's already a period of 3 months that's set by default. I want to first check out one of my favorite companies, Amazon, but I also see that I can select other companies that we had also analyzed during this project. I can also adjust a moving average to see how well the stock price has been doing compared to the price action for that week or that depending on the periods. And now that I've set up all my metrics, let's see what SpringStone recommends. While we wait for the recommendation to compute, I think we can go through like some of the graphs. We can see that this is a candlestick graph, which essentially tells you the stock price, the stock volatility for each day. It gives you the opening price, the closing price, and it also gives you the highest price it was on that day and the lowest price. And if it's a green candle, that means that the stock increased on that day. And if it's a red candle, that means the stock value decreased on that day. You can see that for the last 4 or 5 days, Amazon actually has been doing really well, and it's just taken off. When I scroll down further, I can see that there's another chart that kind of compares the stocks that I choose against each other from the time period that I have selected. And you can kind of see that compared to Apple, which is another like a competitor in this technology industry, that Amazon actually returned a lot lower at one point, but then eventually came back up to like the same level where it is today. Yeah, so you can definitely see that there's some beautiful charts available on the platform, and now you can see we're getting close to getting our recommendation, which is trying to extract all of the information from Twitter as well. So you can see there's 2 types of recommendations that we get, which are a financial recommendation and a financial recommendation plus the sentiment. So as per the financial technicals, you can see that it's a buy recommendation. And if you look further, you can see that the ticker is pretty positive for the last 7 days. So from the sentiment on Twitter, we can see that I guess it's a very strong recommendation to buy. So I know what I'm going to be doing on Monday morning. I'm going to be buying some Amazon stock. This is the amazing team that's been working on the SpringStone application for the past couple of weeks. And a special shout out to Viral and Lucas for helping us on tweaking and fine-tuning our product. We'd also like to thank MG and Wagon for driving the bootcamp, as well as all the teachers who helped us along the way to get where we are today. And with that, I'd like to open up the floor for questioning. Thank you.
And congratulations. So let's congratulate them. I want to see lots of claps and hear lots of clap in the audience. It's amazing. I'm pretty sure that some people will go and buy some stock and follow your recommendation based on this analysis. So please, everyone, ask your questions. If you have questions related to this particular application, you can go on the questions button and type your question there. I will be reading them to the team. So to start, I actually have one question for you. So what would you like to do next with this product? Do you have any features you were thinking about?
I guess I can answer that question. So as of today, we have identified 3 areas where we can enhance our application, SpringStone, and the user experience. The first area is sentiment analysis. We can improve the sentiment analysis by adding more feeds from additional social media platforms such as StockWits or Reddit. The second area of improvement will be on the model themselves that we use. there's room for improvement for sure. We use deep learning models with a fixed number of layers, but we use an auto tuner to figure out the best number of neurons for each layers. We can also one way of improving it will be also to have a dynamic number of layers and have auto tuner figure out the best number of layers to get the best results. Regarding the Prophet models, we use them as a benchmark, basically, but we didn't dive deeply into all the tweaking capabilities of Prophet. And Prophet is a good model and really fast to train. So that brings me to the third point: is we would like to improve the user experience. And as a user, I don't want to be limited to just a list of stocks which are pre-trained. I would like to be able to put the stocks I'm interested in, which is not in the list, and train it on the fly. And this is where Prophet could be a good advantage because it's fast to train. Brahim, do you have anything you would like to add?
Yeah, following what you just said, when you want to train models on the fly, if you want to train RNN models, it takes quite a lot of time to train. So we thought about maybe using jobs to train the models in GCP, leveraging the platform to train model faster. So we can build API to train models on the fly, and maybe at the beginning of the day we can see what are the most trained in stocks and train models for those stocks on the fly using an API in GCP. Yeah.
So lots of potential to grow, and actually there are some questions, a few questions from the audience. So I'm asking the question of Ziming: is this application only for day traders? Would it be enhanced for a longer time horizon? So if you want, any one of you can unmute yourself to answer this question.
Yeah, I can take the question. So currently the way it works is that at the end of every closing day, we run the model again to take the prediction for the next day into account. But the thing is, it could still be a buy recommendation on the next day. So you could, it is kind of more for day trading right now, but in the future, we want to add a capability to kind of add the horizon into the picture as well. So yeah, definitely could work with that.
There's a question from Julien: what was the most challenging part of the project? You can be several to answer.
I can answer this question. For my part, I found that it was difficult to know how long it will take to complete each step of the project. So we were thinking it would take maybe 2 days, 1 week, and we were often short in time. So I want to thank the teachers to help us with this aspect, but because it was quite new, that was a challenging part for the project.
Yeah, I can add that maybe we planned, I think we planned well the task we had to do at the beginning, but sometimes you wait for someone in the team to complete a task you need to be able to go ahead with your work, and then sometimes you have to do adjustment to work on other stuff in the meantime. So that kind of stuff, but it went well overall, I think.
And never underestimate the time it takes to pre-process your data.
It
takes a lot of time to find the right pipeline and the right way to process your data.
All right, so there's a question from Miriam. I will put it here so you can read it. So this is very cool, congrats. I wanted to know why sentiment analysis is important in these types of situations. What if we have positive sentiment on the stock, but this positive sentiment has been doctored? Can you answer this question?
Yeah, I think we in the UI we're showing the recommendation based on financial stock only, and then we're showing the sentiment result, and we add them to based on some rules, but the user can always make his own decision based on what he's seeing in the screen. So it's hard to say, but the user can I'm sorry. The user can make his own judgment on some. The tool can help be making recommendation based on some rules, but we don't have control on the opinion of people on Twitter. So
and also you need to diversify the source of your the feeds that you get, so that you don't get just a sentiment based on Twitter, but you get a sentiment based on other platforms as well, like Reddit, or which is important to have a better balanced view of the sentiment.
Yeah, maybe specialized platforms on financial expert opinions.
Yeah, and for our in this scenario where we're extracting the Twitter data is particularly from investment handles, so we know the information is clean and what they're talking about. They know what they're talking about essentially.
Well, there's a thanks for answering. There's a question from Nicolas. Are you able to compare different stocks on the same page?
Wait, can you use?
Yeah, so we can compare the returns over time. When you on the last graph, you can add different companies to see the return over time, but we don't. But to select a recommendation, to see the recommendation for a different company, you'll have to reload the page and kind of see it.
All right, and there's a question from George asking, are you predicting the future stock price? How do you know if the stock will keep growing in the future? Do you also predict when you should sell stock? Someone interesting here.
Yeah, so
interested.
This was actually an interesting one. There was a company 4 days ago which actually had a sell recommendation, and then because the company increased almost 20% over the last 4 days, the recommendation changed basically while during the course of the project, which is really interesting, and it kind of showed that our product is working as well. But the way it works is it predicts the closing price for tomorrow, and then it kind of computes where along the different technical analysis, where it stands in between the moving average or the different Bollinger Bands, and based on that, it gives you the recommendation. So the way the computed price kind of moves is where we decide whether to buy or sell for that day.
And as Viral say, marry your data. All right, so thanks a lot, Tim. There is one more question from Samuel. I won't forget to ask these questions, but I will actually ask it after the second pitch. We will have another period of question after the second pitch, but we'll go over the second team now. So thanks, Tim. Good job. Congratulations again. It's a great product. Lots of interest from our audience, so this is it for you now. I will call the our next team on stage. So please, everyone, welcome Nick, Thibaut, David, and Jan. This is the Hooked on Recruiting team, and they are going to present their amazing product, a job-seeking app that helps identify the best role for you. So stage is yours, teams. I see you right after. Good luck.
Awesome. Thank you very much, MG. And hi, everybody. Thanks for joining us this afternoon. My name is Nick, and today we're going to talk to you about our app, Hooked on Recruiting, and how we used machine learning and AI to help you find your next job. Now, the chances are that everyone here at some point in time has searched for a new job, and we know it is not easy. But not only is finding a job hard, it's also difficult to know what the expectations are. For example, a data scientist 5 years ago has a much different set of expectations than they do today. People are spending countless hours trying to find out what their ideal job is. Now, wouldn't it be nice to get some help in your job search? Something maybe to point you in the right direction? Well, This is where Hooked on Recruiting comes in. Let's walk through what the experience for a user is. First off, you'll fill out a form asking for basic job-related information. The app then uses this data to find your top matched jobs based on that input. And finally, you get a sleek insights report that can be added to your resume, sent to recruiters, or even shared with a mentor to further your discussion. So how does it all work? Well, what we did was we set up a UI using Streamlit that collects your job experience and responsibilities in a text format. Then we use an AI-driven keyword extraction model to build a list of keywords for the prediction. We process these keywords into vectors, which basically means we turn these into a list of numbers that represent the keywords, and we run those vectors through our classification model, which has been trained on thousands of job descriptions to get the top 5 closest job matches based on that input. Finally, we visualize these results with popular graphing libraries like Matplotlib and Plotly. In terms of deployment, we use Docker and Google Cloud Build. We tested a lot of containers with Docker, but ultimately ended up creating all of the containers on Google Cloud Build so it would work on GCP without any compatibility issues. We created an API and hosted it on Google Cloud Run and so that we can access it via URL. And then our front end, we use Heroku. And the way that we set it up is we built a continuous deployment and connected it with our GitHub, which basically meant that every time we updated our GitHub, we could easily change our production, and we were able to really handle the versioning quite easily. But enough about the backend. Let's take a look at this app in action. So when you first log into this app, you can see that I've already gone ahead and filled out my email, my name, my country, the name of my current title, and my start date. Next up, I have to fill out some tech skills. So I'm going to choose a few things like AI, Agile, Python, GCP, and business intelligence. It wants me to rate them, but let's see what it's asking for. Okay, it's 1 to 10, with 10 being an expert. I'm going to rate myself pretty high on these because we use these skills a lot during the bootcamp, so I'm feeling pretty confident. I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing for the soft skills as well. So let me choose communication, teamwork, decision-making, stress management, and adaptability. Again, all things we have to use a lot of during this bootcamp, so feeling confident there too. Then it's asking me to share my main responsibilities and accomplishments in this role. You know what? I think I can pull that from my LinkedIn. So I'm going to go ahead, head over to my LinkedIn page, and scroll down to my most recent role where I have a description as an operations manager. I'm going to take that info and put it into the app. Now I'm going to save my data. All right, looks like it's generating my prediction. Pretty excited to see what it says about my profile and see what kind of insights and which jobs I would be best suited to apply for in the future. So for starters, I have a nice spider chart here, and I can clearly see all of the skills that I rated listed around the circle and my rating represented by the shape in the middle of the circle. That's pretty awesome to see. And what do I have for my soft skills? Okay, a very similar view, but with my other soft skills and the ratings I gave them. If I scroll down a little bit further, I'm seeing that I have, okay, my top 5 recommended jobs sorted by their prediction score. It's interesting to see that it saw I was an operations manager, but it's giving me a bunch of other good recommendations too. Maybe my next role should be for an IT manager or even a product manager. That sounds pretty great. And finally, I'm seeing all the keywords that it extracted out of my job description, along with how relevant they are for tech jobs. That's also really cool to see. Let's generate my report and see what that gives us. All right, I can clearly see that all my demographic information is at the top of the page, and I can easily compare both my tech skills and my soft skills with them right next to each other. As well, they've taken all the keywords that they've parsed out of my description and put it in a word cloud so it's easy to see. And there they are, the top 5 recommended jobs. I think I have a lot of different options, and I'm really excited to share this with my mentor and continue talking about what my next job might be. And this has really pointed me in the right direction. So with that being said, we hope that everybody enjoyed the demo, and we're going to open up the floor for questions. And if anybody wants to try the app, it's open and available for everybody on this stream. Enjoy.
Congratulations. Wow, that's amazing. Very, very useful. Congratulations, team. Bravo, bravo. So you can congratulate them. I see lots of claps in the chat, sharing it with you. So to kickstart the question, I would have one question. And my question, can you guess it what it is? It's what would you like to do next with this product? Can you tell us more about the features you've been thinking of adding in this amazing app?
Yes, I can answer that question. So our upcoming features include we can predict the top skills for your dream job. Let's say you search what kind of job you dream for, then we can give you the skills you need to learn. And based on that, we can build your learning plans, and we can help you generate the ideal cover letter and the resume for the dream job. Apart from that, we can predict the salary based on your current skills, and you can use that to negotiate with your hiring manager. And now we just need some investment to release the new features, and also Bitcoin's investment are accepted as well. So we already have a lot of positive feedbacks from our test users. One user said, I used to spend 2 hours a day on Instagram. Now I spend 0 because I'm too busy finding my dream job with focus on recruiting. So yeah.
Excellent. Good job, team. Congratulations. It's a really great app, and to see that there are more to build makes it even more exciting. So good job, everyone. So there are some questions. David, if you want to unshare your screen, and I'll go on the different questions that we received. So we'll start with the Jan question. Jan is asking, amazing job, how your product will handle academic CVs. Is that something you thought about?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, for this iteration of the product, we really structured the input. So you're putting your responsibilities and your experiences for a particular role. That being said, our model, our AI keyword extraction model, is trained on finding terms that are specific to tech jobs. So this is really going to find your top tech job, regardless if it's an academic CV or any kind of CV and any kind of description. It's going to go in there and leverage the corpus of data that it has to find your best match. So that would work as well.
Great. I will ask actually the question of Julien that was asked to the other team as well. What was the most challenging part for you about this project? It can be any member of the team. You just unmute yourself to answer the question.
I think Debbie has a lot of challenges when deploying the product to GCP.
Yeah, I think just to add to that, we're very lucky. We have people with each type of computer and processor basically available. So we did have some compatibility issues. But what we found out is we could use GCP like Cloud Build to build everything in the cloud natively. And it made it a lot easier when it came to compatibility. So it took us some time to get to that point, and it was a bit of a challenge, but we made it.
Great. And to link to these questions, based on this project, the last project weeks you had, what are your key takeaways of these last weeks? What would you
apart from the project itself, I think working as a team, how we cooperate with each other and split the task is one of the most important things that we learn through the whole process.
Anything else to add from the other team members? Your key takeaways? All right. So actually, speaking about collaboration, there's a question from Samuel. How did you decide about task repartition between the team? How did you feel to work as a team on a project?
Yeah, I think, we all went through the same boot camp, and I think each of us, we're pretty lucky to have different interests and different spikes in areas. So at first, we basically aligned ourselves with things that we were more interested in. And as the weeks went on, we were able to kind of all bring everything together and work together. But I would say at the beginning, it worked out really nicely. Everybody was interested maybe in reporting for one piece or training the model in another or the front end. So we're really able to break it up based on interests. And I think we're really lucky for that.
Thanks. There's a question from George. I will add it here. So how does the keyword extraction model help to find your dream job? Can you actually link it with an open role in a company? Can you find a role you didn't think you would like? So a bit more.
Yeah, for sure. So I think that's absolutely where we'd like to get to, is give open links as well. One of the ways that we're able to find a dream job is it's also a bit of exploration. So instead of just using accuracy, we use top K accuracy, and we picked 5 different jobs. And we did this so that it's not only finding the best match for you, but also giving you visibility into other roles as well. So you have a bit more of an opportunity to explore, hey, let's use my description as an example. It was able to tell that I'm an operations manager, but it gave me delivery manager, product manager, and a few others that maybe I'd never heard about before, or maybe I wouldn't think about applying to. So I think the next step that Jan was alluding to as well is, we can kind of take it a step further, is once you see those jobs that you might match to, what would be the best next step to get there? Maybe what are the keywords that really relate closely from your description with a new job? So there's definitely some opportunities to develop more features that would help us do that.
Thank you, Nick. Anyone wants to add on what Nick just said? So feel free to ask more questions. There's a comment from Ziming saying, you guys should really sell it to LinkedIn or Glassdoor. It would be really helpful for those new graduates or someone who lost of finding their career, for sure. So there's lots of nice comment you'll be able to discover. But thanks for sharing this, Ziming. So do you have any other question? I can also call the other team to come on stage to answer the questions. That was maybe the question of Samuel. Who can also, how did you decide about your task repartition between the team? How did it feel to work as a team on a project? Maybe you can bring a different perspective. Team SpringStone, do you want to tell something about this, to share how you managed to organize yourself with your team?
I think Nick summed it up quite well. What we did was we kind of first aligned ourselves with the project, the vision, and different elements, like how we wanted to execute. And then we kind of just took different parts based on like what we were interested in. Like Daniel was very interested in building the actual models. I wanted to work with the front end and all these kind of different tasks. And then we just used Trello to organize them and kind of put an ETA to each task.
Thank you. So while we are waiting for more questions from the audience, I have a few I want to ask you. So what about the bootcamp in general? So you've been working hard for the past 24 weeks. You were having, all of you had a full-time job at the same time. So what did you find the more challenging, I would say, during these 24 weeks? What would you share and recommend to maybe future interested people in doing our bootcamp? What are your takeaways from this experience in general?
Well, I find it's really hard to balance your daily work, study, and your family. So that's one of the challenges for the whole process for me. And also, well, I think this the whole process is better than the full-time one. Is we have more time to digest what we learned in the class, because during the weekend we can spend some time to review what we learned in the past week. So that's the best thing about it.
Yeah, the other thing that was super important for me during this whole time is collaboration. So, come ready to collaborate. All of the times where I collaborated the most with people is where I learned the most, right? So even though we were doing this virtually, like sharing your screen, talking through situations, and just staying in contact, it made the learning stick, but it also made it a lot more fun. So, come ready to do that every day, and I think it'll be a great experience for you.
Yeah, I agree with Nick, because every 2 days, I think, every day we work with someone else, a new body to work with, and we had the opportunity to work with all of us in the whole time of the bootcamp. That was really a nice experience.
Thank you. So actually, we have one more technical question for both of the team. I will put it here to read it. Can both teams talk high level about the natural language processing models used? What are the limitations of the models and how to improve them? Who's willing to answer this one first?
For our team, we used a pre-trained model Flare for the sentimental analysis part. That we can always train our own model, but we trained our own model for the financial stuff for using RNN. But for the sentimental analysis part, we used pre-trained models. So this is another area of improvement to make a specific model for this specific task.
Yeah, and we used a few steps. So we obviously used a model to parse out keywords that related to tech jobs, but then we used the TF-ID vectorizer to basically find how important words were based on a larger group of words, which then we could use to classify, right? I think some of the limitations with that approach is that you lose context when you pull out keywords, and that's always a bit of a challenge. So I think, one of the things that we spoke about the whole time is like, how many additional features can we use? Like, how do we basically infer this context that we're losing when we're looking at keywords? But for something as dense as like a job description, like we were using, we felt like that was a good first step. But yeah, I would say like enriching it within different types of features, maybe different sets of keywords with different parameters would make for a better prediction overall.
Yeah. One direction we could, at least for our product, is to add some other stop words so that we can make the keyword more focusing on the skills, and we might fit out like some managing or something like that, the words.
All right. So we have technical people in the room because there's another tech question. Ivan is asking, what code editing tools did you find the most useful? Was it VS Code, Atom, Jupyter Lab, others?
Well, we use JS Code, Visual Studio Code. I don't use Atom. For me, it's Visual Studio in general in my work, but for this project, we use Visual Studio Code. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, and Jupyter Notebook and Jupyter Lab as well.
Yeah, just one other one that isn't on that list, Google Colab. Awesome tool, easy to share. You can speed things up, and from my perspective, like my computer couldn't work with some of the Keras models, and like Google Colab allowed me to do that very easily. It's a notebook, and you can save it as Python file or a Jupyter notebook. So something definitely to check out if you're working in a team.
Thanks for the recommendation. Viral has a question for you. After learning all those awesome topics in ML and data science, what qualities, skills do you think are the most important ones for a new data scientist? Very good question. So based on the skills you've acquired, specifically in machine learning and more generally in data science, what do you think? What qualities, skills do you think are the most important ones?
I think you cannot make anything work you alone. So whatever skill you have, you need people to work on team to make it happen. So I think this is the most important one.
Yeah, communication in the team was very important in each group. Yeah, I agree with Brahim.
Yeah. And maybe just a soft skill, perseverance, because you will get stuck and things will break and you're going to have to search on the internet, talk to people, figure out what's wrong. So yeah, you can't get frustrated with that. But I think that's a big part of the learning experience is as you get more confident, you realize, hey, I may be stuck here, but I'm going to find a way to do it. And oftentimes, if that's your attitude, you figure it out.
It's interesting. So you emphasize soft skills first, which you find more important, and that's very interesting because these skills are so important for any kind of jobs and whatever the tech you're using. In terms, if we want to maybe have you know the more hard skills, you would find very important of what you've learned in the bootcamp. Which one would it be? If we speak about hard skills.
Python.
Yeah, I would say Python for sure. Everything is based on Python.
Yeah.
Yeah, thumbs up.
Yeah, and like data exploration, right? Because you need to be able to see what you're working with. And sometimes, if you don't take enough time, it's easy to miss something, right? So like you have to dig in, see if you have nulls. I mean, you have to be really tactical with that. So that's something we learned right at the beginning of the bootcamp, and I found like super helpful throughout the entire time. You get stuck, take a step back, let's see what we're working with. So that really helps.
Also, yeah. I find Docker, like Le Wagon gave us basically a cookbook, like a recipe to create Docker images, and that was really helpful. The first time I was creating Docker, I've heard about Docker so many times, but first time I was able to deploy something in GCP with a Docker file, Docker container, and have it work, create a web service. So I found it pretty amazing.
They agree when you see the amount of emojis. So thanks a lot. Congratulations again. So we don't have more questions. So I will keep on presenting. You can join the backstage team. Congratulations again. You can be very, very proud of yourself. You can be very proud also of your achievements based on the the fact that you were very busy at your own job plus your family. So it's really amazing to see what you were able to learn and to work on and to see this result is absolutely amazing for us. So I will tell you goodbye. See you soon. You stay. So you quit the stage and you stay in the backstage. And just for the participants, I will go over a few slides before finishing this event. So one is to, of course, you all know that all of this, and this is something we heard a lot from our graduates, all of this would not have been possible without our amazing team of teachers. So thank you to them, to the Wagon staff also, who are working hard in the background to put things together. Thanks teachers, TAs for providing your support all the time during the sessions. You are sharing your passion. You are all also experts in this data science big domain. So you are data analyst, you're a data scientist, you have full-time jobs also, and you share with your passion to our students during the sessions. You keep also your positive attitude even in the most stressful situation. And I know that the last weeks, project weeks, can be very stressful sometimes when things are not working. So thank you for them. You played a huge role in their success. And for me and the rest of the team, it's an absolute pleasure and honor to be surrounded by such inspiring people every day. So thanks for your great job. I want to say again, congratulations, everyone. You nailed it. You can be very, very proud of you. It's really nice for us. I'm repeating myself, but it's really nice for us to see the outcome of this, of your hard work. And you all deserve a nice celebratory drink after this demo and a restful end of weekend. We'll see you back on Tuesday to start looking towards the next step, your future with the Career Week. But for people in the audience, before we leave each other, if you're interested in our upcoming bootcamp, we have 2 batches open full-time and part-time, starting in April, July, and July for the part-time. So if you're interested, you can check in our website and have more information. We'll be happy to give you more information also during our special info session we do on March 23rd. We have an alumni panel and alumni from our data science bootcamp who will share their experience. So that could be super interesting for you if you want to have more details from their experience at Wagon. We also have a workshop, Women's Data Night, on March 30. It's open to everyone, but we want to encourage more women to join this data science sector and tech industry in general. So we want to encourage everyone, women, but more specifically women and everyone to join this workshop. You will learn how to do web scraping with Python. So very cool workshop. And finally, we have another one coming soon in April, SQL for beginners. If you want to start diving into this great tool to start becoming a data analyst, SQL is one of them. So if you want to learn this, you can join this workshop. Our workshops are free and open to everyone. If you want to stay up to date, you just have to join us on Meetup. You have all the information there to be able to join our next event. So I'll be very happy and the team will be very happy to see you again. Again, good job. You have great comments on the chat to congratulate you. Great work, both team impressed by the ML models, but especially the deployment and building the end-to-end solutions. I need to learn from you. Keep up the awesome work. So thanks, George, for sharing your feedback. It's absolutely amazing to see this again. So big up to both of the team. Thank you, everyone, for watching us live. Thanks for joining today, for joining this live storm and for your great questions. And that's all for us. That's all for me. Have a good night, everyone, and see you soon. Bye-bye.